On September 10th, 2001, Manhattan was buzzing with that familiar energy, you know? The air was sticky, and the city pulsed with its usual confidence, almost like it was alive. But in a cozy apartment near Battery Park, Dr. Sneha and Philip was just going about her life, confident, charming, and a bit of a puzzle to those who knew her. She was a doctor, recently married, juggling exhausting rotations that left her feeling drained. Friends often called her brilliant, and her husband, Ron Lieberman, admired her rebellious spirit, the kind that drew people in. But there was a subtle change in her, something brewing beneath the surface for months. That evening, she went out shopping. Security footage from a Century 21 department store caught her last known moments. She strolled through the aisles, picking up bedsheets, lingerie, and clothes. She seemed so calm and collected, not rushing or hiding, just living her life. Then, the next morning, everything changed. The world as we knew it fell apart. When Ron came home from his overnight shift on September 11th, he was met with a scene that would haunt him forever. The towers were already burning, smoke billowing into the sky. Panic set in as he searched their apartment, calling out for Sneha, but there was no response. Her phone was silent, and her belongings were untouched, except for the new purchases she'd made the night before. The shopping bags were gone, leaving behind an eerie emptiness. For years, her disappearance cast a long shadow over the tragedy of 9/11s. Her family held onto the hope that she'd perished in the towers, maybe trying to help others, that instinct to save lives kicking in. But investigators weren't so convinced. Sneha wasn't even scheduled to work that day, and no one had spotted her near Ground Zero. Even her ID never turned up among the wreckage. Before that fateful day, Sneha had been under a lot of pressure. Her residency was rocky after some unprofessional behavior allegations. She had started drinking more, staying out late, and sometimes didn't come home at all. She told Ron she was spending nights with a friend he never met, which felt more like a cover than the truth. It was like a puzzle with missing pieces, and yet none of that seemed to explain how she could vanish so completely. Ron filed missing persons reports, clung to every rumor. He scoured hospitals and morgues. He said she was the kind of person who runs toward disaster, not from it. It was the only narrative that made sense, the heroic one. And for years, it's what her family held on to. But then came the details no one wanted to face, right? Sneha was last spotted in a store just a couple of blocks from her apartment, about 20 hours before everything changed. If she made it home afterward, she left no trace. Her credit card was never swiped again, and her phone records just stopped. It's eerie, isn't it? Investigators started looking into some heavy possibilities. Could it have been suicide, a voluntary disappearance, or even something more sinister? But every theory had its own issues. She hadn't packed a bag or taken out any cash, and she had plans with Ron for the next day. It just didn't add up. And the timing, the sheer coincidence of her vanishing right before the most devastating day in modern American history feels like a cruel twist of fate. It's almost like the universe had a hand in this tragic puzzle. In 2004, her family pushed for her to be officially recognized as a 9/11's victim. The ruling was denied. There wasn't enough evidence she'd been near the towers. But in 2008, after years of appeals, the decision was reversed. A court declared her most likely perished in the attacks. Her name was finally added to the memorial. Ron visited the site every year after. He said he could feel her there, not in grief, but in a strange kind of peace. He never remarried. Still, some folks just can't accept a neat ending, right? Internet sleuths, journalists, and even a few private investigators keep turning the case over like a stubborn coin that just won land on one side. It's fascinating, really. Why was she seen shopping for new clothes and sheets just hours before she vanished? What about that friend she claimed to be staying with? Who even was that? And here's a twist. Her brother told the police she'd been struggling with depression, but then he totally walked that back. What's up with that? One theory is that she ran away. The chaos of 9/11 might have given her the perfect chance to slip away. A new identity, a clean slate, just gone without a trace. Another thought, maybe she didn't die that day, but the day before. A chance encounter gone wrong, a crime of opportunity. It's chilling to think her body could have been lost in the overwhelming flood of confusion that followed the attacks. And some folks, the ones who still light candles for her name, really believe she made it downtown that fateful morning, rushing toward the smoke, diving headfirst into the chaos, because that's just who she was. You know, a true hero at heart, right? It's like she had this instinct to help others, and it's hard not to admire that. There's no hard evidence to back it up, but maybe the story of Sneha and Philip isn't just about proof. It's about timing and those bizarre ways our lives can intertwine, you know? One person's mystery can get swallowed up in a tragedy so colossal that it blurs the lines of reality. Just think about it. How wild is it that someone can simply vanish into the backdrop of history like that? It's like she became a ghost in a world that was about to change forever. Somewhere between that footage of her calm last walk, picking out bedsheets and clothes, and the first strike of that September morning, a woman simply vanished. It's like she slipped away into thin air, right? Whether it was by choice, an accident, or some twist of fate, no one really knows. It's almost as if she stepped off the world stage just before the curtain fell, leaving behind a story that truly deserves to be told. The chaos of that day completely overshadowed her life, making it feel like she was lost in the shuffle of history, a victim of circumstance in a world spiraling out of control. All that's left is her face, captured on that grainy tape, looking straight ahead, blissfully unaware that in less than 24 hours, her name would be forever intertwined with two histories at once. It's haunting, isn't it? Just think about it. Her last moments were spent in a mundane task, shopping for everyday items, yet they took on a surreal weight. Imagine her strolling through those aisles, picking out bedsheets and clothes, completely absorbed in her own world. The mystery of her fate lingers, echoing in the hearts of those who remember her, a poignant reminder of lives forever changed. It really makes you wonder how many others are out there, right? Their stories just waiting to be told, lost in the noise of a world that keeps spinning without a second thought. Each of these untold stories adds to the weight of history, reminding us that every life, no matter how brief, holds its own significance. It's like a ripple effect. When one person disappears, it sends shockwaves through families, communities, and even the world at large. Just think about the loved ones left behind, grappling with uncertainty, unanswered questions, and that deep, aching void that never quite goes away. Take, for example, those who vanished during major events. Think of the families still searching for closure after natural disasters or tragic accidents. Their stories matter too, don't you think? So, as we reflect on Sneha's journey, let's not forget the countless others who might also be lost, their tales just waiting for someone to listen. Every life, no matter how short or seemingly ordinary, deserves to be remembered and honored. Who knows? By sharing these stories, we can keep their memories alive, shining a light on the shadows of history and reminding us all of the humanity behind the headlines.